worked for a living and, you know, felt that, that sense of powerlessness and indignity and lack of respect as a result of being on the job. Whether it's a white collar, pink collar, blue collar job, everybody has felt that in some way. I do every day, working even within the labor movement. You know? I have to deal with, you know, a hierarchical, a ridiculous structure where people pretend to tell me what to do. And, you know, and I push back.
And he's got a good union, CWA, the newspaper.
Yeah, I'm a union member, have a union contract. So with or without the benefits of union membership, there's a struggle that's occurring every day in the workplace. That's the class struggle. That is, in its infancy, the beginnings of a labor movement. If only we could add those struggles up, right? If only we could begin to link what Sister Susie is experiencing at the Kinko's coffee shop with what the barista at the coffee shop is experiencing, with what the miners at Kennecott are experiencing, with the UTU workers that are being laid off are experiencing, with the clericals at the university, right? It is not coming together, and it's our inability to kind of forge a sense of commonality among this collective experience that is the kind of missing ingredient in the revitalization of the labor movement. And I think that the idea that there's, you know, where is the, you know, there is no labor movement. There is no, you know, what's happened to our unions? This kind of belly aching that goes on all the time. You know, where are the members? How come they don't come to the meeting? You know, we've really got to stand that on its head. We've got to turn that around. And we've got to say, wait a minute, there's a whole lot of stuff going on every day. There's a lot of struggle occurring. We're just not close to it. We're out of touch with the working class and its daily experience. And we're not, as activists, as organizers, we're not sufficiently connected, and we're not doing a good enough job of relating those struggles to one another. And that's the challenge that we face. And it's not easy. I mean, you know, would we know a labor movement if we saw it? You know, we might not. And there are real obstacles. If it was easy to do, we would have done it 20 years ago. So I don't want to be facile about the fact that it is incredibly hard to do this. But I do think we've got to kind of flip our organizational heads around and think about where the flashpoints are. And Steve identified a whole bunch of them, but there's a whole lot more. And there are real obstacles. Think about what is a union? We're in a school here. Come on, what is a union?
The ability to collective bargain.
Collective bargaining, the ability to have collective bargaining, recognition rights from management. And what do? You get an A. You go right to the class. That's your job. And you knew right away what a union is. And the objective of collective bargaining is?
More money, better conditions, respect for the worker.
An assigned
Contract.
Contract. That is the objective of a labor union. Preferably a signed contract with dues deduction. But that sustains the organization. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think we're in a right to work state here. You probably don't always get that.
No, never.
Never. But you have to get the dues somehow. People join. But you want to get a contract. And in that contract, you're trying to achieve better wages and better benefits for a selective group of members who are covered by that agreement. And then the struggle goes back and forth between those workers and their employer. But a labor movement, what is a labor movement? It's not about a contract, right? It's about these much larger things that, like pension benefits for everybody, Social Security.
Kind of like the hope and change thing.
Kind of like the hope and change thing. You got to get up here. Exactly. Kind of like the hope and change thing. Kind of like Medicare for all. Kind of like, what will benefit us as a class as a whole. So there's a tension. There's a real tension between, dealing with the employer demands for, say, cuts in your health care benefits, and, a worker saying to himself, I got to stop the boss from taking away my benefits, because I've got a good health care plan, and I'm going to keep it. I'm going to fight like hell to keep it. And then somebody talking about, well, we need Medicare for all, and that worker says, well, I don't need that. Right? I'm not part of that group, because I've got my benefits.
Kind of like they were in Boston last month.
Kind of like they were in Boston last month during that election, right?
I was there.
Oh, you were there. You were deployed. You didn't look me up.
I was working out of the IBEW hall there.
At 103, yeah, local 103. Okay, so you understand what I'm talking about. There's a real tension. And we've got to kind of reconcile that tension between in our strategy, between the benefits that we achieve through collective bargaining and the overall benefits that we achieve through the much larger collective struggle that we're engaged in the electoral and political, social arenas of our lives. So I think that healthcare, pension, the things that are really the flashpoints of this struggle right now, it's really important that we kind of reorientate our unions and our collective bargaining fight to link those struggles to the universal. So if we're talking about healthcare cuts at the university, that struggle be connected to a much larger struggle for healthcare for all, for Medicare for all, for a single payer system, and that there's a connection between that struggle, and that we link the flashpoint of the university's demand for pension cuts to the much larger question of of improving our Social Security system so that everybody has a retirement with dignity, regardless of whether you work or don't work, but just for the fact that you're a human being, that you can retire with dignity. That's something everybody should have. So how do we link the pension struggle with state workers to the much bigger struggle of Social Security for everybody? I want to just wrap up. Hopefully this will provoke some good discussion, talk more about it. One of those flashpoints right now in the struggle is with Rio Tinto, the owner of the Kennecott mine. Linda and I were talking this morning about the lockout of 540 miners in Boron, California, at a Rio Tinto facility there, who are locked out of their jobs by the employer, who are being replaced by scabs, and the opportunity that we have here in Utah to connect and to support that struggle. So I hope we can get together after this session and brainstorm a little bit in a smaller group about how we can support the miners there. Another one at the airport, the screeners, the TSA, Transportation Safety Administration screeners are very, very close to getting collective bargaining rights that were denied to them. They would be second-class workers and denied collective bargaining rights by the Bush administration. There's a lot of optimism that that's going to be reversed in the next couple of months, and there's an aggressive organizing campaign with those screeners to join the American Federation of Government Employees. I have the pin on right here.